One of the biggest fears I hear from people thinking about retirement is this: I love to retire soon, but I don't want to touch Social Security yet. Is that even realistic? Today I'm going to walk through a real planning case study where a couple retired in their early 60s without taking Social Security, and why that decision actually reduced risk, not increased it. So here's the situation. This was a married couple ages 61 and 63. They had done a great job saving about $2.5 million total. But like most people, almost all of it was split between taxable accounts and traditional retirement accounts. No pensions, no earned income, and a big question mark around where does the income come from now? This felt scary and risky to not have any reliable income coming in. They had had a paycheck their entire life. What this couple was concerned about is what we call income gap. And most people instinctively try to fill that gap the fastest way possible. File for Social Security early, pull money from their retirement accounts, or just sell investments when they need the cash. And if you fill that gap the wrong way, pulling too much from retirement accounts, or you panic during a market downturn, that's where long-term damage happens. So the problem was they didn't have a plan, and they didn't feel good about that plan. Now, there's actually a principle in scripture that says the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Retirement doesn't reward reaction, it rewards preparation. In retirement, studies show that the early years are actually the most important years. So we came up with a strategy that we use for a lot of our clients. So we focused on a tax-efficient withdrawal strategy. Several things that we look at. How much can we take from the IRAs and still be in a low tax bracket? We call this filling the tax brackets. They have significant capital gains. Is there a good year to realize capital gains at a 0% capital gains tax rate? This income cap is higher than most think, around $100,000, not including the standard deduction. Then we can take the remaining amount from the taxable brokerage account that they have. A mistake we often see people make is that they just start taking from their taxable brokerage account because it results in the lowest tax impact for that current year, not really thinking about the long-term impact of their IRA growth and not maximizing low tax rates before Social Security becomes a factor in their income. Now that we've talked about where to get the money, we need to talk about managing market risk. This was a concern for this couple because they know they need money, but they don't want to have to sell their investments when the markets are significantly down. To manage market risk, we used a retirement bucket strategy. Bucket 1 is for short-term instabilities. So that's CDs, cash, and bonds. We like to set aside 5 to 10 years worth of your withdrawals in this bucket. So for example, if you need $100,000 per year from your portfolio, on the low end, we want to have $500,000 in this bucket. This is what gets us through the down markets and helps us sleep at night. If the market is down 20%, they don't have to panic, but they can sell from this bucket of money that's more stable. Then when the market recovers, we'll replenish this bucket of money. Bucket 2 is for long-term growth. This bucket is where we are focused on equities, so good companies using ETFs for diversification. What this strategy did for them was really something important psychologically. It allowed them to spend confidently even when markets were volatile. And because we created a plan for their income, this couple no longer felt rushed. They weren't forced into Social Security early, they weren't selling investments under pressure, and they weren't guessing month to month. They now felt confident to spend what they had, diligently saved and accumulated for their entire lives. Retiring early isn't necessarily about having more money. It's about having a sound strategy that will maximize what you do have and give you confidence that you are making the right decisions. Now, in the next video, I'll show you how this same strategy opened the door to one of the biggest tax opportunities a lot of retirees miss.